And welcome back to San Diego Living. You know, nothing will mess up your day more than car trouble, but how much worse if you're heading out on one of those summer vacations and you're out on the road someplace and you have car trouble. Let's see if we can avoid at least the 5 most common car failures. Joining us this morning, Brian Bowersock, West Escondido Automotive and Transmission. Good to see you.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Yeah, now, what's the number one thing that goes wrong with people's cars that's probably preventable?
Well, the number one thing that we see the most these days is check engine light issues. Because most things on newer cars are hooked to the check engine light. If there is a problem electronically, sensor problem, it's going to turn on the light.
And of course, most often the car doesn't just stop running when that light comes on, so you get a little false sense of security when you go a couple miles and you go, well, nothing's happened yet, so you just keep driving, and a lot of folks drive around forever with that thing on.
Yeah, and you know, there are some things that obviously you can get away with. You could drive forever.
But you can't tell that.
No, you can't tell that without getting. And the second part of that is, if something else does go wrong, the light doesn't come on again, it's already on. So you will not know if there's something more serious.
Something new, yeah.
Correct, because some of the things that fail on a car can also cause further damage by continued operation of the vehicle.
Okay, so take that light seriously, folks. Don't drive around with that thing on. When it comes on, get it into a technician that knows what they're doing, like Brian at West Escondido Automotive and Transmission. Somebody that's certified, that actually knows what they're looking at here.
Correct.
Not somebody that says, well, let's tinker around here under the hood and see what we can find.
Yeah, those are a little more hard to diagnose, obviously, unless you have the equipment. One common failure that we see a lot of that could be prevented quite well, as you were talking about, is the battery. You see a lot of battery fails. Number one, going into winter or going into summer.
I know when I moved to the desert, the battery was working fine 1 minute, and I walked out to the car, stone cold dead. I thought, it can't be the battery. It's got to be some other kind of car trouble. I didn't get any warning at all. No hard start, nothing. It was just deader than a doornail.
Correct. And when your vehicle gets serviced, the way we do, we check out the batteries every time a vehicle's in for service. And you can tell the life of the battery and where it's at, how it's sulfating. Because eventually what happens, either the battery shorts or a plate contact breaks inside of it. And what you had happen actually happens. The car just goes totally dead.
Catastrophic failure. But you can predict that? See, I didn't even know that. You test the batteries.
Correct.
So before you head out or periodically, get the battery tested.
Correct. Actually, or if, you know, we test them, everybody that comes in, all of our regular customers, every oil service. We keep track of where they're at. Hey, your battery's in great shape, or your battery's marginal. You might want to start thinking about this here in the next few months. It may need replaced to the point where it gets, okay, hey, I know your car's starting today, but your battery's tested highly sulfated. It's time to start thinking about putting a battery in. Or
it may not start tomorrow.
Correct,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right, what's next?
Another thing is cooling system failures. We see a lot of, especially going into the summer months. And what happens is hoses fail, thermostats stick, people don't service the coolant on the vehicle properly. Now that's all, once again, preventable if the vehicle is inspected properly during servicing, that you can determine, hey, we got issues coming up.
So you'll look at the hoses, you'll see if they're cracked, you'll see if there's any bulges or anything in the hose, and looks like they're getting ready to fail.
Correct.
Do all cars still have thermostats in them?
All cars have thermostats. Some of them are not controlled by temperature of the coolant anymore. Some of them are electronically controlled now. But we run thermostats in every vehicle because we have to keep an engine at the proper operating temperature for emissions.
Okay, so that's regulating what, the flow of coolant through the
Correct,
the car? Okay.
Absolutely, and by doing so keeps the engine at a specific operating temperature that the manufacturers and engineers have come up with for best performance and emissions reduction.
Okay, we better scoot through a few more here, make sure we hit them all.
Exactly. Tires. People drive tires too. Today, with cars, the lower profile tires, wider ones,
right,
we see a lot of cars come in, the outside of the tires look real good. You put them up on a hoist, the inside have the cords sticking out. People don't know this from driving the car.
So
they don't
need
get
to
under
be
the
inspected.
car.
Certainly,
Correct.
as a driver, you should do it yourself. How are Adam's tires looking here?
Well, from the outside, they look pretty good. Who knows on the inside?
Okay, so really, you do need to put it up on the hoist. Okay.
Then the other thing is hesitations and surges. That's not really something that you can predict coming along, except for they're often caused by things that could be maintained if noticed, like plugged air filters.
Now that one's pretty bad. Is that
bad.
To the point of failure, causing
that would
the
cause
engine
an
to
issue?
not run
That's
properly?
actually a cabin filter, but I use it because it is an air filter system. And this was a really bad one we pulled out of a car, so I kind of saved it. I said, you don't always see them this bad, but we do see air filters in that condition sometimes too. You're robbing the engine of air, and not to mention that you get tears in the filter system, which allows dirt through and into the engine, reduces the life of the motor.
Yeah, that's bad. All right, Brian Bowersock, West Escondido Automotive and Transmission. Thanks as always, folks. I'd encourage you to go in and see Brian. Certainly, when you're looking for a pro, get somebody that's certified and really knows what they're doing, and we can vouch for Brian. Always good to see you.
Glad to be here.
And if you need more information, you just go to san diego6.com and click on San Diego Living.